Hey everyone, and welcome back to a new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. My name is Wes Gotham, and today I'm going to be ranking every heroes versus villains map in the game from worst to best. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Just a quick reminder before we get started, these rankings are based off my personal preference, as there really is no right answer, and feel free to comment below your top 5 favorite maps, as I am very interested to know if your rankings are similar to mine. With the new release of the Resistance and First Order ship interiors, we were given the 20th and 21st map in Heroes vs. Villains. And not only did we receive these new map additions, as we also saw changes to the likes of Yavin IV and Geonosis. If you are not familiar with these changes, I'm quickly just going to go over them, as these changes have affected their placements in my overall rankings for better or for worse. For starters, Yavin IV saw a very big change with the map being moved from the temple ruins in the jungle over to the main rebel base hangar just outside the main headquarters. Now, I am not entirely sure why they decided to make this change, as personally I prefer the other location. However, there may have been some complaints or technical logistics that affected the overall player experience, so if that was the case, then I do obviously understand the change in location. And following the changes to Yavin, we also got a smaller location shift with Geonosis. The area that they changed it to is actually visible in the old map, so it wasn't a big change compared to what we saw with Yavin. Again, with this map, I'm not entirely sure why they decided to make these alterations. However, I do approve of the new location of this map, which I will be going over later in this video. Now, coming in last place is the newly added Resistance ship, initially made for the sequel trilogy Supremacy mode that released in the January update. I have only played on it a few times as it just came out in the new update. However, if it was up to me, I would just take it out of the rotation, as I think it was a really poor choice on DICE's part to include this map, as it's incredibly cramped and closed quarters, making the combat incredibly chaotic, and really difficult for the likes of most blaster heroes, as 9 times out of 10, if you put 2 average players, one playing Leia and the other playing, say, Darth Vader, Vader will easily win. Coming in next at 20th place is Jabba's Palace. Similarly to the new Resistance ship, Jabba's Palace is incredibly cramped, giving very limited amounts of room for maneuverability. I also get quite frustrated with some of the random objects lying around which can get in the way when trying to dodge away from, say, a lightsaber attack. However, I did rank this one higher, as for starters, Jabba's Palace is quite iconic to the franchise, and being able to duke it out in the Rancor's pit can be quite fun. At 19th place is the Kamino Mine on Kessel. To be honest, when it comes to the solo movie content, I really don't like it all too much, and have never really felt any connection with it, and I think this map is a product of that. The poisonous gas spewing from the surface dealing damage to your hero can also be really frustrating to deal with, especially if you are in a vulnerable situation amidst an intense duel. Although having the Millennium Falcon in the middle of the map to jump around on can be fun at times, but overall this map really doesn't offer anything special. Next up is Felucia. Many people loved this map at the time of its release, as it has a rather unique environment that we haven't really experienced much of in this game. However, personally, I've never really liked the map, and I think the flaws really shine in Heroes vs. Villains. The entire map is located on a downward slope, which is really annoying, as I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but there is actually this bug where if you're blocking and then fall or drop down off of an object, it drops your lightsaber, making you an easy target for the swing spammers in the game. I have found myself on numerous occasions on this map blocking somebody's hits, but then my block randomly drops because of the way the map is on a hill. Not only that, but the map also contains a lot of the poisonous spews, which I really am not a fan of, putting Felucia at 18th place. For 17th place, we have Ajan Kloss. This map is a newer addition to the game, being introduced with the new Rise of Skywalker film, and although this map does have some promising features, I think it strongly lacks in comparison to the other jungle maps, such as Endor, Yavin IV, Takodana, and even Kashyyyk. The map is positioned inside a cave of the Resistance headquarters, which is basically just a muddy hole with a few tunnels. The overall surface is quite flat, so it can be alright for lightsaber duels. However, it really just doesn't have anything special compared to some of the other maps in Battlefront. Next up is the Separatist ship. The map is located mainly in the base hangar, where there is a huge droid MTT centered in the middle, with others parked on the sides. This map, along with some of the next ones, are really just average. It offers the likes of a more open area with some more compact hallways, and some cover with storage crates lying around. So it definitely fits the basic criteria for Heroes vs. Villains map. However, it's a very basic Star Wars ship interior. Following the Separatist ship is the other prequel era ship for the Galactic Republic. The only reason I rank this one higher is because I think it's laid out quite well. The map has a nice layout of high to low with space above for the likes of blaster heroes and large hallways for some interesting duels. However, even with the nice layout of this map, it still has that same basic ship aesthetic as the Separatist interior has. In 14th place we have Hoth. I actually love Hoth in this game, yet for some reason the section they chose to use for this mode is honestly quite disappointing compared to the possibilities. I love the ice planet Hoth, as the thick white snow covering is just so beautiful and creates such a unique space, not to mention how iconic the planet is in Empire Strikes Back. Nevertheless, the map for Heroes vs. Villains doesn't even remotely live up to it. The cave interior is pretty basic, and the crates and environment details they included just feel like fillers in the space. If DICE were to relocate the map similar to that of Yavin and Geonosis, I would suggest having it right at the gate entrance into the headquarters, where you got some of the exterior and some of the interior, rather than just having it super isolated in the cave. If they did make those changes, it would easily move up at least to the top 5 best maps in my opinion. Next up is Starkiller Base. Now I know some people actually really like this map, yet for me, I find it quite dull. The whole map is just a wide open landing dock, where we actually saw one of my favorite shots in The Force Awakens, but this map just has some crashed ships and crates. There's no interesting geography or level changes, and can be pretty easy pickings for blaster heroes, as they can pretty much melt any hero coming at them if they have enough distance. In 12th place we have the new Yavin IV map. Like I said earlier in the video, I actually like the old map in the temples better. The new map is okay now, located in the hangar outside the Rebel headquarters. However, I find this location to be very similar to the likes of Starkiller Base and the Separatist ship, where the map is basically one flat plane with a bunch of ships parked around and some crates lying around. I found the old map located in the temples was really unique and had lots of interesting nooks throughout. That just had a really cool environment to duel. However, since the changes were made, the map moves down in my rankings. In 11th place, we have the research station 9 on Endor. We're getting into the maps now where I really don't have too many critiques. Endor is an iconic location not only in the movie, but in this game franchise now too. The map provides some nice open spaces for duels, along with different layers of heights for blaster heroes, while all surrounding an AT-AT in the middle. The forest environment provides a nice background without being too distracting from the combat. It's overall a beautiful map. Next up, we have the Death Star 2. Similarly to Endor, the Death Star is an iconic location within Star Wars and is overall quite well done. The ship interior feels far more within the Star Wars style, and the map provides a nice environment for both blaster and lightsaber heroes. Not to mention, while duking it out as a Jedi, it brings back some nice nostalgia to fights between Obi-Wan and Vader in A New Hope, along with Luke and Vader in Return of the Jedi. In 9th place, we have the High Towers in Kashyyyk. The map of Kashyyyk offers a beautiful backdrop of the planet as you run through the tree huts. Now I know there are a large number of people who dislike the maps that have the big drops. However, I actually really like the maps like that, because personally I think it gives the combat even more tension and excitement. However, I do understand how it can be annoying at times when someone just walks up from behind you and sends you flying off the map to get an easy kill. Taking 8th place is the new First Order ship interior. Unlike the prequel era maps and the Resistance ship, this First Order ship not only offers a really well-rounded space for fighting, with a bunch of platform levels, but also has a really edgy cyberpunk aesthetic with super clean interior and vibrant neon lights. The map is open enough where there's a nice balance for all heroes, not being too cramped or too open. Coming in at 7th place is the Naboo Palace Hangar. Now there really is only one valid explanation for why this is so high, and that's due to the ending of Phantom Menace, with the fight between Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan. The map intertwines the hangar itself, allowing you to maneuver Padme's large silver ship in the hangar, as well as the platforms to fight on the sketchy pathways in the other room. With the vibrant yellow starfighters Anakin rode parked up on the sides of the hangar, this map is a perfect place for heroes versus villains. Following Naboo, we have the newly altered Geonosis map. Unlike the Yavin map, I do like the changes they made to the Geonosis one, as the rocky terrain is now complemented with some technological geography. The rocks give the map a natural sense of elevation and cover for the blaster heroes without being too deliberate or disruptive. We are now moving on to the top 5 best heroes versus villains maps, and taking the number 5 position is Camino. Camino is easily one of the most gorgeous maps in the game. The abundance of crashing waves below you as you traverse the slippery platforms in the pouring rain is all contrasted by the beaming white interior of the buildings. This map is clean-cut, incredibly intense, and very dynamic, providing a dramatic environment for a lightsaber duel. Takodana. If it were pretty much any other mode, Takodana would be at best a mid-tier map. However, this map was practically made for heroes versus villains. The forest is rich with green colors right on the coast of a beautiful lake, emerging on this rustic yet unique castle, providing plenty of space for fighting. The forest is perfectly lush, not being too much of a distraction from the combat, while providing the perfect cover and range for any blaster hero. The map is overall quite flat, but uses the natural geography of the forest to give it some variation. Coming into the top 3 best maps, we have Jakku. To be honest, there's really nothing like hashing it out with some lightsabers in the middle of a broken down Star Destroyer, stranded in the middle of a desert. The debris can sometimes get in the way, or you can lag in it a bit, but the overall aesthetic makes up for it. My one change to this map would be to push the boundary line back a little in the one section where the map opens up to the desert, but overall, this map is pretty much perfect. At the runners-up position, we have the streets of Mos Eisley. I don't know about you guys, but this map really brings me back to the 2005 alteration of Battlefront, where heroes vs. villains in Mos Eisley was the best. Intertwining between the rooftops and the streets of this map are so fluid and fun, not to mention the iconic canteen centered in the middle of it all. Flush with abandoned street vendors and buildings, this map is the perfect place for blaster heroes and lightsaber heroes. Without further ado, in first place, we have the Cloud City of Bespin from Empire Strikes Back. Now, it might be that we actually have so little of this map, and that this game mode is one of the only modes that you can actually play this map on, but I love this map. It's simple and yet so elegant, and the color scheme is so impressive and beautiful, it just gives the whole game a perfect backdrop. The map has the perfect balance from outside combat to close quarters hallways and rooms in the buildings. The building's architecture is so fine-tuned and just superbly fit to the Star Wars feel. With that being said, that will pretty much wrap up my Heroes vs. Villains rankings. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in and listen to my rankings. If you enjoyed this video and want to see others like it, check out my other videos. And please feel free to leave your rankings in the comment section down below to see if we have any similarities. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you guys all next time. Stay safe.